So welcome back to the Discovery series, and today 10 of part 4, the very last day of the Discovery series. Now my hope is that over the last sort of month or so, you've had the opportunity to really start to discover some things about your body, your mind, that you didn't necessarily know before, that you weren't fully aware of before. Now, obviously this is just the very beginning, and my hope is that as you continue through the Headspace journey, you'll continue to discover more and more. I think it's the nature of meditation to encourage you to inquire, to reflect, to ask questions. I think the more you see of the mind, the more you see the potential, if you like, for discovery. And the more you discover, the more you see, you get to witness how, with a greater sense of awareness, things start to naturally unfold. It doesn't require a strategy or anything more than that. It doesn't require lots of positive thinking, or simply in being aware of what's happening in the moment, something magical happens, and it's being present for that moment with a willingness to listen, a willingness to step back, not to identify with it quite so much, but instead to witness it for what it is, allowing it the space, the room that it needs to breathe. That is the process of mindfulness, and that's what will lead to a greater sense of peace, of calm and ease in the mind on a day-to-day basis. As you begin today's exercise, we're going to continue to note, as we have done before. But to begin with, of course, just taking the time to set the body up in the right way, to get comfortable, eyes open, and taking a few nice big deep breaths. And with the next out breath, just gently closing the eyes, allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm, in and out through the nose. As you become aware of those points of physical contact, the weight of the body against a chair, the feet on the floor, and the arms and the hands resting on the legs. And aware of any sounds and as you bring the attention back to the body, just noticing how the body feels right now. So you can still be aware of how you're relating to these different sensations and feelings, but perhaps in a slightly lighter way today, not quite so deliberate. As next you start at the top of the head and just scan down through the body, just building up a clearer picture of how the body feels. Again, perhaps being aware of particular areas of resistance or attachment, wanting to hold on to a nice feeling, but in a slightly lighter way today, as you just work your way down towards the toes. As you become more aware of the physical sensations, at the same time becoming more aware of the underlying emotional quality of mind. Being clear about why you're doing what you're doing today. Clear in your mind about how this simple exercise can benefit so many people around you, not just those that you come into contact with, but in turn the people they come into contact with. Whether we like it or not, we're all completely interdependent in life, and how we are as individuals inevitably affects those around us as well. And lastly, just bring to mind that idea of blue sky. Always present, always there. Not needing to try to create it again in any way. Instead, stepping back. Just allowing the clouds to pass and noticing as the blue sky starts to peek through the gaps. With that in mind, just settling the attention on the breath now, and that rising and falling sensation. Aware of the rhythm of the breath. And as you follow the breath today, still taking the time to notice, to be aware when the mind's wandered. And in that moment, having the willingness to listen to whether the mind is trying to hold on to that experience or to reject that experience, or whether perhaps within that awareness there's now a greater willingness to simply sit with it, to see it clearly, to acknowledge it, to feel it, to experience it, and then let it go. without any effort whatsoever. So now just following the breath, counting the breath if you find it easier to focus in that way. And now just letting go of any focus on any one thing, just allowing the mind to do whatever it wants to do. And then just bringing the attention back to the body again, back to those physical points of contact. As you begin to notice more in your immediate environment, noticing any sounds, any strong smells, any lingering tastes in the mouth. As you just gently open the eyes again. As always, just maintaining that position just for a moment or two. Aware of how that feels to have taken a bit of time out for yourself, for other people, and to have discovered something new about the mind, to have got a greater sense of clarity or calm in the mind, and having the intention to carry that with you throughout your day. But for now, you can just sit back in the chair and give yourself a big pat on the back, and well done again for completing all 40 days of the Discovery series. I'm really very excited about introducing you to everything that's coming up in the Mind series tomorrow. The Mind series is very different, actually. It's a completely different technique. It requires, of course, still the willingness to be aware, to listen, to not identify so much with the things that are going on in the mind. But it has a very particular feel, actually, the technique in the Mind series. For most people, it leads to not only a greater sense of calm, but it also tends to lead to a greater sense of awareness of our sort of different levels of thinking, if you like. Often we're conscious of what's on the surface, and we get to discover that when we're mindful. But when there's a deeper sense of reflection, we start to see things that we weren't even aware that were there beforehand. So there's something quite exciting, I think, about going into the Mind series. Remember today, though, as you go through your day, to continue with this idea of noting, of being aware, both of your internal experience and your external experience, and how you're relating to that on a moment-to-moment basis. But for now, I'll leave it there, and as I say, I very much look forward to seeing